All right, man. So who are we here with?
Josiah Natzke.
Okay, where are you from?
From New Zealand, Mount Maunganui, New Zealand.
What brings you all the way from New Zealand to Canada, man?
I'm chasing the dream, man.
Yeah.
We're here to try and get back on the international racing scene. That's the plan. Been in America a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Now here in Canada.
I want to tell you a little story how I met you because you were completely off radar on my end, and I'm out at Walton the first day, just kind of doing my thing, walking around and stuff. And this guy approached me and he's telling me stuff in my ear, and I couldn't really make out what he was saying. So I said, bring him off to the side. Hey, what's going on? He's like, hey, can you film a little bit of my buddy? Who do you work for? I was like, dude, I work for myself. I just shoot for my podcast. I'm out here just covering things on my own. He's like, can you interview my buddy? I said, yeah, no problem. Who is he? And he mentions your name, and I'm like, who? And he goes, okay. He's like, he's over there. He rides for the Partzilla team. I'm like, all right, give me a little bit of time. I'll shoot over there. So time goes by. I go to your trailer. I interview you that day on the spot, and that's how I met you. And I just find it interesting, like I was telling you, we talk about life situations, like out of all the people around, your boy comes to me, and then I end up interviewing you, and you got this crazy journey, and it's like when our paths crossed, during this time period, you're starting to elevate, and your life is going in a different direction, man. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about a little bit. It was about life and your journeys. And how was it for your life as a kid growing up in New Zealand before there was even any moto involved?
During my life at home, I come from a amazing family. Mum and dad, brother and sister, and life at home was pretty good, man. I went to school. Pretty just normal, regular stuff. I started riding early, so like 4, 5, which I don't remember a whole lot from when I was younger. But yeah, we just lived in New Zealand, not a third world country or nothing. Like we're pretty developed back home. We have electricity and stuff. So that's kind of how it started. My dad rode, and that's where I guess how moto got involved.
Okay, and how was it? How was the riding in New Zealand as an amateur?
It's pretty cool. I was always kind of like, I guess one of the fastest guys. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of other guys around, like definitely. But New Zealand was, I kind of just we started off with like small bikes and then just sort of started winning races. But it was cool. Me and my brother and my dad would travel around. Like we'd go to all these races, and New Zealand's a small place, so we didn't have too far to go. But it's a cool scene. It's pretty friendly. It's smaller than the Canadian scene for sure.
Okay.
But it's a cool scene. We got cool tracks, cool people. It's it. It was fun.
I always thought New Zealand were some of the coolest people, man. I've happened to run across, and I'll be honest with you. I haven't met too many New Zealanders, but I got a neighbor who moved in probably about 2 years ago. And when he moved in, he came in the wintertime in flip-flops and shit and walking around, and it was cold. So I was like, dude, this dude kind of reminds me of myself. So I kind of created a bond. When I first came over, I was kind of like, wasn't used to the winters. And so he was like the coolest New Zealand. We're homies now, man. He lives 2 doors down from me, and we're cool as shit. So, but
now that's what everyone back home does, man. Like you go to like where I live at the beach, and people don't even wear shoes. Like flip-flops, anything.
Okay, well let's talk a little bit more about moto, man. You when did you start to turn heads after you started climbing the rankings? Like when did everything start to change for you in your life out of New Zealand?
Probably when I was about 15, I would say. Like
okay.
I did a few international races like here and there, and I went to Australia, and things were good. But when you're back home, it doesn't mean a whole lot. Like no one really cares, or New Zealand's a small place, and if you're just in New Zealand, you're not gonna get a ride overseas from New Zealand. So to get anywhere in motocross, you have to leave and go anywhere. And so when I was 15, me and my dad went to Europe, and I raced some EMX and the World Juniors on a 125, and that's kind of when it started. And then after me and my dad went over, we went for like a couple of weeks, and then I could ride, and then I signed a deal with KTM for the next couple of years.
Okay.
And then yeah, just snowballed from there.
And you were hovering around the GP circuit for a while too, right?
Yeah, I was hard into it when I was probably 16, 17, a little bit at 18. But then I kind of faded off a bit. But yeah, I did EMXs, man. I traveled from England, all the way from England to Russia. Like I did everything in between pretty much.
Wow, world known, huh?
Yeah.
Traveling. So at what point were you in your life when you said, you know what, I wanna come to America, I wanna race the U.S. circuit, and you ended up doing the first 4 rounds. You did really well. But why was that decision made for you to even come from New Zealand to race the American circuit?
Well, I went home after my stint in Europe, and at the end of my thing in Europe, it was quite like a lot of bad blood for me. A lot of like, man, I hate this place. I want to get out of here, and I still want to ride. I don't want to nothing. So I went home, and then just was at home for a couple of years. Got a job, and just started working, and had a couple of jobs, but nothing that really motivated me that much to get out of bed. And then I was still riding, and then just kind of rekindled with my dream again. I lost sight of my dream when I was like over in Europe, which was America, and I was like, well, I don't want to sleep on this, So I kind of just took me a little while and a lot of different challenges, but eventually I pulled the trigger, booked my flight, and it was like, let's go to America. And just best case scenario, I end up in Canada with PRMX. But worst case scenario, I go home, and at least I knew that I'd done everything I could. So, that's kind of how it all happened.
So you went, once you decided to come to the States, you hovered around 10th, 11th place at Paula. You turned some heads. You were doing pretty good for yourself. Why the decision to come to Canada from the States?
Yeah, well, I wanted to be somewhere. The States is a hard place to crack, and I was doing it all basically on my own out of a van, and just sort of like I'd kind of maximized what I could with what I had. I felt like in America, in terms of results wise, I don't feel like. I mean, if I could have got better results maybe, but I don't feel like doing it on my own I could have got better results. So I was like, and Canada to me is the next best thing in terms of being close to America. People watch the Canadian series. I've watched it for a long time. It's an epic series. There's good riders here.
Yes.
And I'd been talking to Julian from the team, and so it was like I was going to have a good support group of people around me, and I was like, well, this makes a lot of sense. I would way rather try and get more out of myself with a team around me and some people helping me than just go as long as I can, lose or spend all my money in America. So, and where I'm at now, my door's not closed to America. But if I go to New Zealand or basically away from North America, Canada, I shut my doors. So I got to just kind of stay around here as long as I could, and it's worked out really well.
And definitely it has, man. And you made the right decision. And like I said, life and journeys take you to places you won't know unless you take those steps. And I find it crazy that you're here. You threw a monkey wrench in a lot of boys' programs out here, and a lot of guys come over thinking they can just kind of do things a little bit easier, and they think the circuit's easy. When they get here, they find it's a little bit rougher than they thought it was. But you came here, you jumped on the team, and you put a team on the box not once but twice in a row. I mean, how does that feel for you? And how does that feel to be on part of a team that you're helping to actually develop in the pro stages?
It's pretty cool. I feel a lot of if I just look at myself to the team, I feel a lot of similarities in terms of like where we're at in our journeys in a way. yeah, it's sick. I'm pumped on it. A lot of the feedback I've been getting is like, yeah, I don't know. Canada seems like there is a bit of a bubble here, and I've kind of just come in and jumped in it, but like I don't really care. So I'm just trying to do the best that I can, and I'm trying to chase something, like with my own career and try and get better and progress and stuff. So the results in that are cool, but they're not where I want to be. They're just like a stepping stone for me. I want to keep getting better, and I know that I've come from America and that I was getting like 10th, 11th, sorry, or whatever. So I'm not the best, like I'm not. I can be better. So I'm trying not to get too comfortable with where I'm at over here. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're doing well, man, and I wish you the best of luck because you put a lot of time in on the road. I mean, ever since an amateur, I mean,
yeah.
You and you're still drive. I mean, you still got a lot of drive left in you to push forward, and you're still going, and adventure still continues for you, man. And it's crazy where you're at right now. Like I said, you came over here with your bike, and I take it some parts. But that was kind of leading into my next question. Like when you came over and you worked the deal out with Partzilla race team, did you bring your own bike? Did they have a bike set up for you? Did you just bring some suspension with you and have everything set up? How was it as far as getting used to the team bikes? And were you still back on the Kawasaki before you came here as well? So it made things a little bit more comfortable for you?
Yeah, so I was on a Cowie. I had two of my own bikes, which basically when I decided to come up, I was on the road anyway. Like I didn't have actually a home or a base. I was in California and I had to move out of the place when I traveled east for the AMA Outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
I basically came up with everything I owned in my van, and yeah, pretty much. So I jumped onto the Partzilla bike and started riding that. Got comfortable straight away. We got set up with some good suspension, and basically that's it. I'm riding their bikes. Like I brought mine with me because I had to. Like I had nowhere to put them, but yeah, it's worked out really good. I love these bikes, man, and I love Cowies. I've been on them for a long time, and I know the bikes really well and the chassis and the motor, so I'm able to sort of develop this bike to a way that I like it, and I know which directions I kind of have to go. So it does make it easier that I'm on the same brand, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Josiah, man, I don't want to take up too much of your time. You got a race coming up this weekend, man. I want to wish you the best of luck. It was definitely exchanging words with you, man. I've been around your presence for about 3 times now, and you got nothing but good energy, man. I got nothing but good things to say to you, and good energy coming from you. So I appreciate your time on this interview, buddy, and I wish you the best of luck in your journeys, man.
Yeah, epic, man. No, thanks for having me on here. It's cool. It's cool that there's people reaching out, and yeah, stoked to just any opportunity that comes up. I'm a yes man.
Exactly.
I'm trying to be anyway.
Exactly, man. And like I said, I appreciate you even blessing us with your voice and your presence, man. Thank you.
Sweet, dude. Nah, cool. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
No? Oh, I don't hate it, but it's like, it's going to be another day. Yeah. We're going to be suffering out there, like, no matter what.
Well, I know, but everybody that's been inside of country comes to play for even though it's
It's just a different knowledge.
Dude, it just fucking hammer.
Yeah, it was deeper than I expected. Yeah. But I bet it'll be one of them.
Yeah, go have fun, find the fucking...
Fuck it.
Yeah, exactly, I like it. Good for repetitive. Are you cool with buying a GoPro?
From motos.
Practice motos, whatever you like.
I'm running the moto first.
Yeah?
I have to practice first to just try it.
Yeah, do it in the next... Well, your next one's timed. I don't know.
I don't care.
Do it for the moto?
Well, if I like it, practice it.
Okay, so it's like... Well, cool. All right, well, good luck.
Yeah.
Any changes to your bike between this and the next one?
Yeah, we're going a whole different form for this.
Okay.
It's different.
That's different, that's it? Okay.
Yeah, we're still like in the process of
Kind of learning it all, yeah.
well, we're
Were you riding Cowies when you did the US one? So you were
yeah. Remember, it's a WP setup and I was running the shower.
Oh, okay.
So we're just learning.
Right. Is it
Whatever.
air for it?
No,
No.
it's It's fucking soft. It's gnarly.
You got tracks like this back in New Zealand?
Nah, not really.
Nothing like this at all, huh?
Nah, we don't really have many tracks. We got like one like a trail park. It's like sandy, and they have a moto track.
Yeah.
But it's always different on a racetrack. But yeah, we got. I've ridden a lot of sand before, but this is gnarly.
You feel anywhat comfortable out there?
Yeah, I feel comfortable.
Okay.
It's just it's gonna be like a hard day. Even if you're feeling good, like it's gonna be a hard day. Even I'm thinking like, damn, I still gotta do like another practice.